welcome back to my channel. And first things first, sorry, not sorry. You are going to be hearing the faint, subtle whirring of a fan over there because your girl cannot deal with the heat. I am at my parents'. My parents have like 3 little baby air conditioners and it's still hot as basically Satan's you-know-what sack. So, in order for me to maintain my somewhat attractive visage without it melting off a la an Indiana Jones film, gotta have the faint, subtle whirring of the fan. But with that aside, ever so obviously, today we're going to be doing an anti-haul. Because clearly I don't do enough of these. And as things are sort of picking up, this is going to be the anti-haul you see before I film my holiday nonsense anti-haul. It was like September 1st and boom! Holiday releases not only are getting teased, but are flippin' available. So after you watch this anti-haul, stay tuned for that one, which we may film today. But today, we are filming the anti-haul filled with holiday releases that just, oh my goodness, there has been, since we started picking this shiz up, there has been so much nonsense, so much silliness, so much needless frivolity, so many stupid releases that has your girl feeling a certain type of way. So we're going to be talking about those. Obviously, if I talk about something that you absolutely love or something that you plan on buying, that is fantuckingfastic. You keep doing you, boo-boo. But for me and my whatever, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm talking about. So let's just get on into the nonsense. Okay. Firstly, from a brand that I own absolutely nothing from a brand that I don't intend or anticipate owning anything from, Dragun Beauty, which is Nikita Dragun's brand. She is someone who I don't vibe with. She is someone I consider to be in the list of problematic influencers. And with her brand, she doesn't really release anything that makes me any kind of excited. And sort of in that same vein, she released a like 5-pan palette with the eyeshadows in like the little dragon egg shape and some really basic color liquid lipsticks. The palette looks cheap as heck. It looks like some kind of shiz you're gonna find, some kind of off-brand at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, that whole shebang bang. Maybe you'll be poking around in the Claire's makeup section and you're gonna come up with this shiz. This is not a palette that you are gonna see at Nordstrom, at Macy's, at Sephora, at Ulta. It just does not look in 5 shades, 5 shades. I understand I have said that smaller, more curated palettes are the way of the future, but I use the word curated, whereas this is more just kind of thrown in there, which is part of the reason why it comes off as kid makeup. I don't need that. I don't need any more liquid lipsticks. I have these shades from a plethora of companies. I don't need to be trying no Nikita Dragun Beauty shiz. Then a new brand that I feel a little bit less offended by. I've actually seen a lot of my YouTube guys and gals be reviewing that shiz. Teresa is Dead, Smoky Glow, just a whole bunch have gone in on this and like reviewed it, and I've heard some good things. But Rare Beauty, available at Sephora, which is Selena Gomez's makeup brand. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Selena Gomez. Young Soraya was bopping to that girl's music. Love, I love you like a love song, baby. But this brand, although the aesthetic, it's very clean, it's very natural, it's very soft, it's very, which y'all know your girl, the complexion is muy importante. But it's also, you've got cream blushes, you've got cream highlighters. You know, I guess I could try the foundation, I guess I could try the lipstick, but I don't need anymore. Y'all know your girl has a lot of shiz up in that makeup collection. And so for me being on a low buy, I don't see myself investing in any of this. This isn't a like, oh my goodness, this offends me. It's more just this is a thing that I'm not interested in. Okay, the next is something, it doesn't necessarily offend me. I find it kind of, convenient and funny, but Morphe hit a certain amount of years for existing. I have no idea. I don't really care. But they released their main event collection, which, looking at the eyeshadow palette, it's ugly. And I find it sort of funny that this particular color story was released after they decided to cut ties with Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star. Because looking at the palette, this shiz has got a lot of similarities to that big old conspiracy palette, which in my opinion isn't an attractive color story either. But I do just find it kind of funny that this color story, which harkens a lot to that particular palette, happened to be released after they were like, no, we're not going to sell that collection anymore, which, quite frankly, for anyone who's like, yes, Morphe, they did that shiz. They're so good. They're responsible. Y'all, they aren't doing it out of morals. They're doing it because it's a smart business move because people are going to go and done crucify them if they don't. So don't be thinking Morphe actually cares about y'all because they still collaborate with plenty of other problematic people. But it's just funny that they're like, oh, we're not going to be selling this anymore. We're not going to be selling Jeffree Star Cosmetics. And so, yeah, here's our version of the conspiracy palette. Okay, then we've got like 12,000 Colourpop releases. You know, they just keep coming and they don't stop coming. We've got the... having the fan does make it a little bit whatever with this stuff. The Garden Variety collection, the Candyland collection, the Sunshine, I don't think if that's actually what it's called, but it's all kinds of like yellows and whatevers and bright shiny bleh. Basically just a crap ton of releases from Colourpop with boring mishmash palettes. They're released in blushes, they're released in blush and lip gloss duos. I mean, I was living for the time in which Colourpop wasn't releasing big old giant collections every other week. I was living for it. I was filled with a sense of ease knowing that Colourpop wasn't releasing something every time I blinked. And then I blinked and we started accepting our new normal and moving forward with it, and Colourpop was like, all right, full steam ahead, choo-choo! And they're releasing big giant collections every other week again. So the moment of progress and the moment of moving forward, the moment of self-awareness and realization is gone. We can kiss it goodbye, and we are now back into the incessant shilling of everything Colourpop, just so much. And I'm not interested in any of these because, you know, Colourpop, for every really amazing standout, like, has Colourpop recently released anything that's actually like, oh my goodness, yes, this is cutting edge, this is innovation, this is beautiful? Any standout products that don't just get muddied in with all the rest of things that are released? I mean, I remember when they released their first eyeshadow palette, everybody lost their shiz. They released those monochromatic ones and everyone was like, oh wow, and then they started releasing them every other week. Colourpop has turned into Too-Faced in the sense of they live for continuously releasing nonsensical products just for the sake of releasing them. And they like taking things and just beating it to, it's like them monochromatic palettes. We're like, okay, this is cool. All right. And then you're like, oh wait, here's a peach. Oh wait, here's an orange. Oh wait, there's a blue. Oh wait, there's a yellow. And they were just back to back to back to back to back. No breathing time. No time for the products to age, to be appreciated. We're just gonna keep on pushing this shiz out as quick as we can. And so it's so hard to even keep track. You know, you're just like, you know, I have my little list and I'll write one Colourpop thing. And then I'll scroll through Trend Mood the next day and be like, oh, there's another one. Okay, all right, we gonna be like that. I just ain't doing it. I just ain't buying it. Just not happening. I know a lot of people love that Candyland one. So many people were like, oh, this is a Candyland collection. And a part of me did do that because your girl is, I wanted to be my ideal self when I was like 10 years old was Queen Frostine. And she isn't, used in the packaging of this or whatever, so there is that. But it pulled on my heartstrings a wee bit, which is what companies like to do when they do this sort of licensing thing. You're buying it because it fills a certain something inside of you rather than being like, wow, that pasty palette pastel color story is amazing. Now, I've tried pastels from Colourpop. That last thing they did was really pastel, and I didn't like it. So I'm happy for all y'all who have that shiz and love it, but for me, it's just not happening. Okay, next up we have like the whitest collaboration. Like this is basic white girl to the 10th power, which don't get me wrong, your girl enjoys being a basic white girl. I'm all kinds of pumpkin spice right now. But the KKWX Allison, whoever the flip that is. Some kind of friend or acquaintance, I'm sure. Some reason for us to push out a stupid, useless, nonsensical, unnecessary, repetitive collection. Let's just be real. We're not collaborating with these people with we absolutely love them. We're collaborating with these people because it allows us to push product out with some sort of reasoning behind it. And I'm collaborating with my best friend from 10 years ago. I mean, if I went up to my best friend, I was like, hey, bish, you want to collaborate? She'd just be all kinds of like,
No, I'm good. You do you.
And looking at this, it is so pasty. It is so basic. It is so white. I mean, I'm sorry. You would think that Kim Kardashian would have some sort of knowledge of catering to the people of the deeper, darker, delicious melanin. But no, we keep producing these faint, subtle, soft, barely there sort of aesthetics, and I'm like, all right, that's gonna look good on like 2 people. And it's just, this is the epitome of basic. I feel like unless you have like no makeup, you got this shiz. And it's not a dumb limited edition collaboration either. I just looked at this and I was like, wow. It basically just fades into the background of the promo picture. This is like the poster child. If you were to look up in the dictionary the definition of unforgettable, you would find a picture of this collection. Just snooze and move on. Okay, then we have some things that don't really offend me. These are things that I'm just like, nope, I'm good. I ain't spending that money on that shit. First of which being the Natasha Denona Chromium Shadows, which, let me tell you, your girl is a magpie. I like shiny things, and those things are shiny. And they bright and they vibrant. And for a moment I looked at that and I was like, oh, what's up, Natasha Denona? And then I was watching a makeup nonsense bingo with Teresa is Dead, and she was like, they are the bomb diggity shiznit, which I trust her opinion on a lot of things. But these things are 28 freaking dollars. Let me say that again. Single eyeshadow, liquid eyeshadow is 28 freaking dollars. That is a lot of money. I have advocated for some pricey shiz in the past. Y'all know your girl loves her Viseart. I like some of my Natasha Denona shiz. But for $28, I ain't out here dipping my toes into a new formula, dipping my toes into a liquid eyeshadow that like, I know I ain't gonna use. Let's be real. I have my Give Me Glow shimmers, and that is gonna give me all the cha-cha that I need. The Too Faced Diamond Light palette. Too Faced made a diamond light highlighter, and they're like, okay, let's take this horse and beat it to death. they're just like, they made a highlighter and they're like, okay, we've extended the shade range. What else can we do with this shiz to offer the people who've already bought the singles? Let's put them in a palette. Soraya of yesteryear would have been on this shiz like nobody's business. Y'all know. You all know. I love me palettes that I don't use. I love me highlighters that I don't use. So this has absolutely everything going for it in that category. But thank goodness we are enlightened today and we look at this as just another stupid Too Faced release and we're like, all right, cross that off the list. We're moving on. Okay, let's talk about something that it's very personal. All of this is personal. I am not out here to offend anyone. I think if we haven't learned that some of this is hyperbolic, although some of it is 110% honesty, because I am 30 years old and I don't have time to deal with this shiz. I just don't. These are the Diddy's signature fruit palettes. I don't know how I feel about most food-themed makeup. Some of it I can get behind if it's done well. Insert the BH Cosmetics Sunday palettes. But looking at these, I was taken aback for a moment with the kiwi one because it's all kinds of green and y'all know that your girl skews very green. And then they had the strawberry one and the orange one. And part of why I don't, aside from the fact that the packaging is giant, huge, clunky, stupid, switch around, whatever. No, I am practical. I need my makeup palette to open and to close. That's it. No fuss, no hassle. And so to have to twist it around or to flip it back and all kinds of whateverness, I ain't about that life. I don't want fancy clasps. I don't want any kind of tomfoolery when it comes to the practicality of my packaging. Just don't do it. And I hate food-themed whatevers because I feel like that is an excuse to dump eyeshadows into an eyeshadow palette. Like I've said, curation is key. That's what I care about. I ain't about that KVD, let's just throw everything in the kitchen sink right on in here and call it a palette. We're not dumb. We're not taking that. We're not letting you going in the back and looking at the eyeshadows that you got left over from all the other stupid things you've released and putting them into a release, saying it's a holiday release and pushing it out to us. No, 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 no. Nay, nay. We ain't doing that no more. And so while these are not like, oh, okay, offensive color stories, it's just, they're just like, okay, let's put like a bunch of greens and a kind of greeny blue and a yellow. Let's put some reds and some pinks and a yellow. And there's some wasted space and it's just weird looking how it's configured. I was like, why? Why are we showcasing this? Why are we touting this as the next thing we need to buy? I don't like it. It doesn't make me happy. I'm like, I do not mind a kitschy aesthetic if it is done well. Don't like it when they're like, let's take a piece of fruit and make that the packaging and then throw a bunch of shiz up all in it. It doesn't make me happy and I'm not going to buy it. Then speaking of KVD, they released a palette or they teased a palette. I have no idea. These videos are exceptionally outdated because I pre-film. I do not have the ability to just drop everything and film a video and have it out in the next couple of days. I just don't have that. But as of whatever, they've like teased it, and I'm not gonna buy their shiz. It's not happening. The nicest thing about it is the packaging. You have this palette, and I was like, oh boy, maybe they doing something, and you have this little section of basic AF matte neutrals, and then there are all these like, ooh, fancy, glimmer, ethereal, fairy, new formula, shimmers. I am so tired of hearing about new formulas. I mean, please, dear God, just give me a basic, well-formulated matte shimmer palette. That's all I ask. Don't be futzing in with this whole like, all right, we got these basic neutrals we need to put in something, and then we're gonna create this like fancy, never before seen before, amazing, fantuckingfastic new shimmer shade and call that shiz a palette. I'm just like, no, just stop. It doesn't look exciting. It's a bunch of shimmers that I'm not going to use. It's a new formula. God forbid it be that same formula in the Mi Vida Loca Por Vida where you swatched it and you were like, that is God tier shimmer. And then you put it on your face and it's not even demigod. I really have no idea what I'm expecting from KVD at this point. It's kind of pretty, it's kind of okay, but for me, what I have, what I already own, what I expect from the company, this just saturation, what is up? This just ain't it on any level. Okay, next I figured we'd end on something that I have to anti-haul because I want it, because let's be honest, let's be real. Sometimes we have to say no to things that deep down inside we'd actually like to have. Melt Cosmetics, which is a company that's basically replaced KVD Vegan Kendo Vegan Love Japan sword fighting brand. And they decided to release these like duo blush lights with a cute little like honeycomb pattern and a little baby bee. I was down. I thought they looked absolutely beautiful. Y'all know your girl likes a luminous complexion. But I don't like paying $39. That is a lot of money, especially for someone who is on a low buy, who is trying very hard not to bring in more blush and highlighter because I have enough. I have enough to last me until I die. My children, my four-legged fluffy children, will inherit my makeup collection. And they look pretty. I've seen, I think it was Britt Clark, Karen Harris, a couple of YouTubers that I really love talk about them and like them. And I'm like, I would like to have bee-themed blush duos by Melt Cosmetics, but I don't need them. And I feel that some of them are much more in color theory for those with the deep, dark, delicious melanin. So if you got that deep, dark loveliness, you go in and get you some shiz, because these are some very rich, very deep, very decadent shades that would overwhelm my pastiness. So as much as I would like to have this shiz, as much as I would like to roll all up in it and slather it all over my face in ways it wasn't intended to be, I just don't have the money or the wherewithal or the whatever. It's just pretty. I don't know if in the future I would ever buy it, but for right now we've got to say it's a no for me. And that is what I have for you all for this lovely anti-haul this time around. Would love to hear what y'all have to say about these particular products. If you have them, you love them, you hate them, you're planning on buying them, makeup is disgustingly subjective. So things that you may love, I may hate, and vice versa, and it's all good. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!